Today, big news for South Australia. In fact, absolutely massive news for South Australia, and it's my pleasure and privilege to announce that Warner Brothers will be bringing Mortal Kombat here to South Australia. It will be the biggest movie produced here in South Australia in our state's history. So, South Australia, let's get excited! You know, when we came to government, we made a couple of changes, and one of the changes that we made was to move Screen from the arts portfolio over to innovation and skills, and we thought this was really important. This is a very important part of our economy. It's a part of our economy that we've wanted to grow. So we moved it over to the industry, innovation and skills portfolio, and since then we've had a real focus on trying to grow this sector. The taxpayers of South Australia have made a massive investment into the screen sector in South Australia. In fact, into these wonderful sound stages and studios that we have right here in Glenside. But they weren't getting the return that they deserved when it was in the arts portfolio, so we moved it over to industry and skills. We got ourselves over to Los Angeles earlier this year. We spoke to a range of people in this very important sector, and we've been absolutely delighted that Warner Brothers will be bringing Mortal Kombat to South Australia. Couldn't be more excited, very happy with this wonderful opportunity for our state. Most importantly, it will create a huge number of jobs in South Australia. And this is fantastic for our sector. It's important for building the skills that we're going to be able to need in South Australia to continue this. Back it up with the next movie that comes to South Australia, the next documentary that comes to South Australia, the next opportunity to grow this important sector of the South Australian economy. I would like to say that we're absolutely delighted that Simon McQuoid is going to be the director of this film. That is absolutely fantastic news. He was previously living here in South Australia, and Bennett Walsh as the producer, and it's fantastic to have them here today, along with Greg Basser, who was very instrumental, I think, in identifying South Australia as a logical place to put this film. I know that there was stiff competition to bring this film here to South Australia, but this is a great location. We've got great facilities in South Australia, we've got great locations in South Australia, we've got great crew in South Australia, and we've got a great sector in South Australia. And now our focus as a state is on growing this sector with a real focus on jobs for the future. Thank you very much. The state government, for a long period of time, well before we came to power, has had a series of rebates in place, both at the state level and at the federal level, to attract movie production into South Australia. So, in particular in South Australia, we'll be providing a 10% rebate on the money which is spent in our state. We think this is a great investment because we know that this blockbuster is going to create massive job opportunities for our sector.
So the amount of revenue that is being or will be generated in this state, it was quantified as 70 million?
That's the estimate that has been provided. So, look, the reality is it's still early days for this production. We're going to be doing everything we can to bend over backwards to make sure this is a success in South Australia, because we want more of these blockbusters coming to South Australia, because we know that this will grow our industry, grow the employment and keep young people in our state.
The actual title of the film and the way that the games are played, they're R-rated games, and they are, I don't know if you play them yourselves, you probably do.
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you though?
No. I never have. But
you've been playing games your whole life, Mike. I mean,
okay. Fair enough. Do you want this to go to air?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Do you think that it is, you know, there is a bit of a gruesome image to it, and that's going to be linked to South Australia?
Look, our focus with this production is on creating jobs, not commenting on the genre itself. The reality is this blockbuster will create a huge number of jobs. I think this will take the industry to the next level and enable us to bring more and more of these blockbusters here to our state.
That was going to be my follow-up question for me. How important is it that this film is a success so that you can attract other titles going forward?
Yeah, look, the reality is that South Australia has fantastic facilities, fantastic personnel, fantastic locations right across our state. But the taxpayers haven't been getting a return on this in the past. That's why we decided to do everything we could to go out, get on the front foot and to bring production to South Australia. Mortal Kombat is going to be absolutely crucial. Bringing a blockbuster here, I think, will demonstrate the great capability that we have in South Australia, because we're going to be going after more and more screen work for our state.
So do you see other companies and just rising sun out of thin air, would they benefit from this?
I think lots of post-production companies should be very excited about the possibility of bringing a Hollywood blockbuster to South Australia. We've always had very, very good post-production work in South Australia, whether it be Rising Sun or Jumpgate or Kojo or one of the other great post-production houses like Resin. These are all great post-production houses. What we're talking about now, though, is bringing the production work here for a blockbuster to South Australia. Often our post-production houses are doing works for some of the biggest films in Hollywood. Now we're bringing one of those films right here to Adelaide.